I wasn't planning on making this video tonight. I got no sponsorships for you in this video. I didn't have a video due. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to do this one. I figured, the young guys, and I'll throw something out after the Bulls game, or maybe we'll talk trades here coming up because there's a lot of trade rumors. But that's not what this video is about. It's about tonight. It's about the love of the game. That's why I'm putting this video out. It's the love of the game because I love to do this shit. And you watch the young Warriors get out there and love to play basketball. Nah, I'm being dramatic. I got to hook you in with something here. But they finally just go full young crew, right? And I just have a couple. I am being honest in the intro in the sense of I don't really have a ton of notes because it was kind of a throwaway game. Saturday night, how many people are watching? But I think that it warrants being talked about. And the first thought in my mind by the half where there was a combined, 60 points. It was ugly in Cleveland. And looking at proof that the system does work. When you've got a bunch of energetic guys hungry to play, motivated, the system is a beautiful thing. Officer Pat Spencer, SWAT Team Pat, however you want to say it. Would he have 19 points? And this is 3 games in a row. And it looks like, again, we're going to do a trade video. Podziemski's on the table now. I know for a lot of y'all, this is good news. And hey, it is what it is. But Pat Spencer looks like he's low-key taking Pods' spot. Now, when Steph and Jimmy and Draymond are back, there's such a nuance to chemistry and how pieces fit. But when you have Guy Santos, Will Richard, Quentin Post, Pat Spencer, you have these guys out there where there is no pecking order anymore. Now it's just make the basketball play. It's not get the ball to Steph, get the ball to Jimmy. Draymond needs to touch the ball. It's just make the open play, and it speeds guys' process up, and it makes them crisper and sharper. And that's what stood out to me. You can't always capture it, right? It's just kind of one of those games. And then let's be honest, the Cavs are broken. I think it's about time. Look, I like Kenny Atkinson. Donovan Mitchell is a true, do I want to say a true number one? I think he's best suited as a number 2. I think that if Don is on a team with someone that's better than him, then that's a contender. Him as the number 1, I think we've seen it enough times here, but I don't want to make it an indictment on Donovan Mitchell. Evan Mobley is Charmin soft. He still doesn't believe in the shot. I don't care what the numbers say, right? And it's time they admit the Garland-Mitchell backcourt is too small. Garland is not durable enough to be a lead point guard, to play as a starting point guard. But I don't really want to talk about the Cavs, but I thought that we would make note that this Cavs team is not what they had been, and something stinks in Cleveland. They'll probably be in the trade mix. But the Pat Spencer, Quentin Post is a thing. Their synergy, your boys had a couple drinks. It's Saturday night. Their synergy, their chemistry is a real thing. And QP, again, these are just thoughts that are running through my mind. It feels like he might have a Zubac type trajectory here. Now, they're not the same player at all, right? Zubac is much more of a post, strong base, in the paint player. But it feels like the trajectory might be the same. 2nd round pick, and all of a sudden it's wait, he can crack the rotation. Wait a minute, is he a starting center? Because while they may not have the same game, Quentin defensively has just taken leaps and bounds. And you watch down the stretch. I do have my notes for my Patreon breakdown that will be out tomorrow. Those final 3 minutes, my notes kept Quentin contested the rim, Quentin rebound, Quentin this, Quentin that. The defense is where I don't think anybody expected. We know he is a real shooter. And then the chemistry with Pat, and when you're talking about a second unit moving forward on the pick and pop in the pick and roll, is something to behold. And I think when you want to make it simple, right? You want to just boil it down. Pat and Post are level 10 competitors. They're elite competitors to go along with whatever skill set they have. And then I wanted to talk about Pat perhaps taking Pods' spot a little bit here. We'll see what happens when we get healthy next week. Fingers crossed. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding here. And it's funny because if you took Pods and Pat's combine stats, their bench press, their vertical, their lateral movement, all that stuff, I would imagine it's pretty close, right? But that's where the numbers lie because you get them on the court and Pat is such a better basketball athlete. He glides, and it's effortless and in his athleticism, in his movements. And he's just so strong, man. And so to see him in the confidence, because it's almost like the case with Kuminga. I know the argument is with Kuminga, like, hey, if he would have been handled right, and if you gave him the right role and gave him confidence, he would be this star player. And that's an argument with a lot of guys that don't end up making it, to be honest with you. But Pat kind of seems like that's what's happening. Like, and it wasn't even, it's injury that's got him this opportunity. But is he 29 years old? To be fair to Pods, he's had a much longer journey. But it doesn't look like he's given this role back, right? Like Pat, it's just, it is what it is. Kuminga, I think, I have a couple of things to say about Kuminga. I'm just going to pour it all out here on a Saturday night to y'all. I'm in the crib alone, and I needed that win. My daughter had a rough game tonight. They won, or this afternoon, I should say. They won, but I'm not happy with her competitive spirit. So, Amaya, if you're watching this, you have to compete. Let's get back to this. Pat Spencer, Kuminga, where was I at? Kuminga. I'm not even going to edit this, y'all. This is fun on a Saturday night. And again, your boys had a few drinks. Look, I understand the argument that Kerr and the organization mishandled Kuminga initially, and it fucked him up. That said, he's fucked up. Like he right? Like it's not working out. Like, so I understand the battle lines of this argument that have gone back 4 years now, and everyone just has a spade's a spade at this point. And I'm watching him tonight amongst his peers out there. And maybe it's kind of an awakening to him. Like, maybe you're not that ISO player that you think you are. Maybe you need a system. Maybe you need to cut off ball and run the floor. And that's how you'll be an efficient star player, kind of like what Steve has been saying all along. I know that's going to sting a lot of y'all, but these are my thoughts. I really just don't care. What else, man? I guess down the stretch, I don't know. Again, back to the Cavs, like that Thunder game the other night, as well as we were playing, and even in Philly, I felt like, hey, probably not going to come up with this one down the stretch. In this one, it felt different, right? And I'm not quite sure why I can pinpoint it. In the breakdown tomorrow, after going over the tape, maybe I will. But it felt like we're going to win this one. Maybe it's because your boy had a few drinks, but it was, you know what I mean? Down the clutch stretch, as Donovan Mitchell starts to cook, I was like, I feel like we're still going to win this. They felt in control, right? It was, and to close the game, there was no Moses Moody. There was no Jonathan Kuminga. It was Pods, Post, Pat, Gee, right? GP2 is in there. It's funny what you stumble into. But what I will say is down the stretch, because we've seen this 2 games in a row, I am always amazed at how many coaches draw up clutch inbound plays without screens. I'm not a fan, and I've seen it at every level. There may be one or a slip, like screens. I'm a big fan of them on inbounds plays. I'm just saying. Like the run route shit, is that like the new analytics or the innovation? I'm not feeling it. Because Gee had them quick hands. Like it was hairy again down the stretch, but again, it was just a feeling, a vibe. I can't explain it, but it felt like they were in control. They closed the game, and just a really good win. A win that they needed here. Do we move back to, is it 11? No, is it 12 and 12? Was that game 23? We're in Chicago tomorrow. Jimmy was there. He might play. Draymond might play. I almost want to see this team again. Now, Chicago is very competitive, and they play fast. So the back end of a back-to-back traveling on the East Coast, like that may be rough. So you need to go deeper with it. Pause. But if they could somehow steal that one, or you get a Jimmy back in Chicago game, you got to feel pretty good considering like the last week with Steph back. They get a chance to lick their wounds. They don't play again until Friday. So Friday, we should see much more of a complete roster. Melton's still going to be on a minute restriction, but you're going to see Melton, Seth, Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, like, right? And so these guys that had this great performance, I hope that it may be another opportunity tomorrow in Chicago. I think that the coaching staff need to respond to that. Pat Spencer ain't leaving this rotation. Quentin Post looks like a starting center. Will Richard, where was he down the stretch? I don't know. GP2, hey, we won. I'm not going to complain. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. So as mid as the Warriors have looked 20 games through this season, and clearly like they're not contenders right now, but we all know moves are to be made. And the shuffle up with the young core is intriguing to go along with the addition of Melton and Seth. And so never mind the record. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I don't know about you. Anyway, y'all enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. And as always, hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.